So I did a video, which is kind of the story of this neck, which the experts told me couldn't be fixed, and then a musician was able to fix it. So I mentioned that it was crazy, all the things I went through to get this neck fixed, and the expense and stuff, and having another neck put on my regular guitar. And now I see that I probably need to put this neck on my regular guitar, but it plays so good. And this has pretty good pickups. They're DiMarzio. So I thought I'd do a video on, why a player would be so obsessed with a neck. And this is the story of this neck. If you're a musician and you've ever been discouraged, I'm going to tell you a story. Maybe it'll make you rethink things. I don't know. I played in bands when I was in high school. I played a little bit in college, and then I got, out of college, and I had a guitar, but I didn't play out. And so from college till I was in my 40s, I never played out. And then it was a brother. My brother told me, you need to go to an open mic jam. And so, okay, so I went, and I was terrible. And this was kind of a quasi-serious blues jam, open mic jam. And I sucked. I remember a lady came up to me, and she was trying to be kind. And she goes, well, it was okay. It was your first outing. It was okay, and so on and so forth. I'm a very competitive person, so I had to make a decision. Should I give up or keep doing it? And so I decided to keep doing it. So I'd go back, and I tried to get better, and I'd practice. And then I took a friend of mine with me, and he played keys. And all of a sudden, after, I don't know, going back so many times, we kind of had our little slot in the open mic jam. And, they'd let us play 3 songs, and we did good and kept doing that. And myself and this keyboard player formed a band finally, kind of a blues band. And it was like starting over, learning songs and stuff like that. And we had some tiny little gigs, and that band kind of folded, and we started a new band. And we finally ended up with a pretty good band. But let me retrace this. After that open mic, I started getting a little serious, and I got with the first band, and that first band kind of dissolved. Then I went out and bought me the black Telecaster that you always see me play on videos. That was probably 2001. And so that's kind of the story of this neck. And so with that guitar, had many gigs. I mean, I've had gigs where I've been fired during a show. I've had gigs where I was told, or I went up to somebody, when are you going to have us back? He goes, never. So you go through all that. And I was an adult at this time, in my 40s. And so you do all the things you have to do, and you go through all the changes in a band. And with this neck, we finally got a band together, and we were pretty good. I mean, as compared to the band I'm in now, no, but when you think of it in the context at the time, it was all right. And we were playing regular. And this neck saw me through all that. I always thought of this neck like the guitar, but this is what you're looking at, is that original 2000 neck. Of all the things I went through in life, this thing stayed the same, but it aged, because this neck used to look a lot wider than it does now. And over 19 years, it ages, all the dumpy clubs it's been in and so on and so forth. And I think in like 2009, I kind of had this thing like, if I could play a gig and like get through an entire gig, go through 4 sets, and really pretty much not make a mistake, I was going to quit. And that didn't happen. I just got to a final gig and I'm done. And so I stopped playing from 2009 probably to 2014. And in the interim, I discovered Pro Tools and I did a couple of CDs of original stuff, and that's a good thing to get into, because that'll make you a better player. And then in 2014, I was asked to join a band for a gig, and I did. And that led to the band I'm in now, and we did good. We had start out like any band. You start out rough and you get better. And we were never a band that played like simple songs. I mean, we tried what I would consider difficult songs. And so that band probably lasted from sometime in, I don't know, some part of 2014. And then in the end of 2017, on New Year's Eve, or actually the gig before that, I told the band I was hanging it up yet again. I had a family member going through some issues and stuff. It was just time. So I hung it up. And if you look at my videos, you're going to find, like in September of 18, I started playing this. And that was like the first time I touched a guitar in 8 or 9 months. And there was some talk about forming the old band, and there'd be one new player, be a new drummer. During that old band, in May, 2 years ago, which would have been 17, we had a keyboard player, and he and I were really good friends. And he was going through marital things, and he killed himself. And so the band that would come to an end at the New Year's Eve show, 12/31/17, we had to learn to play from May of that year to the end of the year without a keyboard player, and that was challenging too. Anyway, so don't play really in 18. Maybe we started rehearsals in November of 18 and played the first gig in January of 19. Played a gig in February and March. Just recently played a gig. But I mean, that's not typical, because we used to play 2 or 3 gigs a month, and so at a very slower pace, which I'm not crazy about. But I'm just saying, through all of that, there was the original guitar that I bought in 2001, but it was a 2000 model. And so when I was going through all this stuff in my neck, the luthiers are going, what's the big deal with the neck? And they didn't understand. There was an emotional attachment to me in this neck because all the things in music that I'd been through, that I've already described. So there's just an it's a piece of wood, and that piece of wood has some metal in it, and it's just wood, but it's more than that. So, and if you saw my last video, you saw where, you know, the neck's been repaired and life's good again, and so on and so forth. But the point is this: that's why there's such a emotional attachment to old instruments, because you go through so many things in life with that instrument. And when somebody tells you you can't have a piece of that instrument anymore, I mean, it's like, no, we're going to do it. Even though I had to buy a new neck from Fender, which was $500, even though I had to pay $140 to get the new neck set up and put on my old guitar, which is the black Strat, even though I had to go pay the guy who ultimately fixed this neck, it was worth it, because there's so much invested in this particular neck and guitar. So anyway, this is kind of a different video. It's kind of a video about the attachment that people have to their instruments. And it's very simple. I mean, the psychology is very simple. It's like, I did this, I went through all this stuff, and, you know, with that guitar, and that's how it is with me. I mean, getting fired from a gig in the third set, being told, you know, ask, can we, when are you going to book us again? They go, no, people were walking out. I went through a bunch of stuff. And that's, you know, honestly, that's what a musician is about. If you don't have the fortitude to take the ups and downs, then maybe playing out's not the deal for you. It's like saying, in whatever you do for a living, I mean, you've got to have the fortitude to take the ups and downs of whatever it is you do and keep going. And that's true in like athletics, that's true in marriages and all that kind of stuff. It's just true. And it's true with your instrument. So I just wanted to give you the kind of the backstory on the neck. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.